Oh man, good morning. It's Monday. I am reminded of President Trump, President-elect Trump, roasting Hillary Clinton at the Smith fundraiser for the Roman Catholic Church in New York City in November after the election, after Trump had won the election. Well, Lorraine has finally discovered rolling in the grass. Oh yeah, she looks pretty happy doing that. Diesel loved doing that. Oh my God, she shakes and stuff is flying everywhere. I don't know what that is. The dew, or is that she can't be wet like that? Go run, go run. Oh yeah, she is wet. Go run, go run. Oh my God, she's soaking wet. I don't know how that happened. Go run. Look, I remember that because Trump delivered the message of the elite, and you all missed it. But if you go, I think it's the Al Smith fundraiser. If you go and watch the video from way back then, you'll see that, and if you pay attention to it, and if you have ears to hear, which most of you don't, and I just barely have them, you listen to Trump say, never did we ever dream in our wildest dreams that we would be alive to witness this, to see this. Trump is saying that. Trump is delivering the message. The great work to which they have all dedicated themselves. What is the great work? What is the great work? Of course, the assumption is on the surface. Oh, we're raising money for Catholic charities. Well, the cardinal's there with his little red beanie cap, little red yarmulke on the bishop, cardinal. Anyway, everybody's sweating bullets up there because they're under bright lights, but also because they have to put on a smiley face because they all know what Trump is talking about, and they know that we don't know, and they do not want to get caught. And the master of ceremonies, with his special medallion hanging from his neck, he was sweating profusely. So go look at that. Go look at that video. And what you're going to hear is Trump is telling everybody with ears to hear that they're all joined together on this great work. What is their great work? Well, Trump said they only read about the bloody battles and bloody wars in books written about long ago. They never thought they'd be around to witness that, as if it was a great honor to reduce humanity to using blades on each other and cutting each other up. That's right. They want to reduce us to the lowest common denominator they can, and they want us killing each other off. Now, never did I think I would be living through this time in history, and I bet you didn't think you would be either. But we're watching Bible prophecy roll out. The end times, the Battle of Armageddon, and all that stuff roll out. And that stuff has been so well documented, so well analyzed, that I can tell you right now, it's going to be a wonder when we see China laying the road and marching on it at the same time, all the way through Iran to go to Israel. Yep, we are definitely going to be seeing World War. Yeah, I never thought I'd be around to see the day. Maybe I get to see the Messiah return, which is what I really think I'm hanging out for, by the way. And I think I'm going to make it. And I just didn't think I'd be living through the end of the Earth age and watching the sun nova myself in person, but I don't think I make it there. Some of you might, because you're much younger than I am. You got 21 years and a few months to wait on that. That's right, that's all you got left is 21 years. 2046 is the year. October is the month. The 16th is the date. plus or minus 90 days on either side of that, according to John Vogt, VOGT, published in 2007, and he has many videos on YouTube, and I do suggest you watch those. It's just fascinating. They all were joined up there, bringing about the reduction of humanity to barbarism. That's what their goal is. And that's what the purpose of the spike protein is. I told you before about the hair of the hound, the hair of the dog. I don't remember what Siri Singh Saab, who most of the world knows as Yogi Bhajan, said exactly. That was 1976. If I remember correctly, at a tantric place, at one of those gatherings. There are a couple hundred of us in the room. He said there is no worse war than the hair of the dog. I think that's what he said. Maybe it was the hair of the hound. Now, what does the hair of the hound refer to? Well, there's several ways to look at an animal. So depending upon which end of the elephant you're starting at, you're going to be describing a tail or a trunk. So in one perspective, this is the spike protein, which, by the way, I didn't bring my medicine out here, but I've been fighting it pretty successfully. And I'm going to be showing you exactly what I do in a short video. But the spike protein is designed to reduce our ability to think, to actually make us go mad, crazy mad. Another way to look at it is Kuru. I think I'm saying that right, off Papua New Guinea. And that's a not a blood-borne illness, but a nervous system-borne illness that's common among the cannibals. And another way to call it is Creutzfeldt-Jacobs disease. And we also have wasting disease, which some of the animals have now because they've infected those. Because when this all comes down, they don't want us to be able to go harvest meat from the forest for ourselves. Mad cow disease. That's right. So they're busy trying to give that to us, so they reduce us so that we will slaughter each other with blades and knives and just as brutal as can be. Why? Well, you see, unfortunately, Yahweh opens my eyes on this stuff. They want to make a sacrifice. They want to make a huge blood sacrifice. And that blood is going to be rolling down the Jordan, or what used to be the banks of the Jordan, which is going to be really massive. And it's going to be going into the sea. And it will make its way to the bottom of the oceans. And they're talking about this bringing life. So how does death bring life? Can it bring life? Well, I think in this case, they're using our blood to fertilize the ancient ones that have been on the planet for a long time. And they only come around once in a while. I believe that we're going to see some really wild stuff. We're going to be seeing some species and creatures that have not walked the earth or swum in the oceans in a long time. But what do I know? Who do I know? And as far as this war, I never thought I'd be living, watching the assembly of it, the fulfillment of it. It's pretty interesting that Biden even told Erdogan if he didn't get on board with something, Turkey might have an earthquake or something. And of all the damn things, by God, it happened. Because Biden called the earthquake machine on the South Pole into active duty and caused the earthquake over there. But we haven't seen it all yet. There's going to be an bigger earthquake yet. Yeah. What gets me is Yahweh knew all this stuff in advance. It was all codified in the Bible. in advance. And then not only that, it was written in other books before it was put into the Bible. I used to think that some of these languages were really important. And it turns out the Semitic languages are all derivatives of Akkadian. Akkadian is a binary language they wrote with slashes and vertical marks. It was binary. Computer language. Oldest language on the planet. Oh my God, if you're North Korea listening to this, do not EMP us here. Why? Because we're going to be saving your asses. If we can maintain ourselves long enough here before the jackasses, the elites, go underground and hide from us, we're going to be taking them out. And the problem the North Koreans are going to have is that if we don't take them out, your people, your survivors in this next sun nova cycle, October 16, 2046, they're going to be fighting these evil bastards. And these evil bastards, from what I can tell, have survived at least 5 or 6 of these Earth ages. 5 or 6 of these transitions every 15,068 years. My God, I misread it when I heard that they discovered a city on the bottom of the ocean that was 140,000 years old. Thought it was 14,000. I thought, well, that's the last Earth age for sure. So Yahweh created this beast system to rule till the end of this Earth age. That's what he said. This Earth age is Babylon, Mystery Babylon. The next Earth age is Jacob, Israel. I don't know what kind of transitioning we're going to do, because as they drop the shields of the planet, as the magnetic shield drops more, and we're down quite a bit right now, we're going to be getting more gamma radiation, more space dust. The Earth is going to be gathering mass, especially when that sun blows and all that shellac that's been irritating the sun, which always occurs in this part of the rotation around the Milky Way. It's going to coat the Earth up, and the Earth is going to be bigger. The Earth is a growing baby boy. The Earth is going to be 100.5% of current mass, and it's going to slow down in its rotation. The year is going to get a little longer, and that's according to the people who studied this. And the last nova hit North America the hardest, and there was a reason for that. And this next one, and I don't understand how these guys arrive at that, but I think it's Ben Davidson, I think is his name. Suspicious Observers is his website. I don't follow it very long. It's a short daily, if you will. I understand there's a big hole in the sun, and it's hitting us directly with solar radiation. Anyway, we're going to be getting irradiated because of the lack of shields on the planet during this time. And this is the time of extinction and speciation. Now, one of my friends has got some mystic abilities. Well, she hasn't exactly lived the easiest of lives. She's had a pretty weird life, actually. And I don't ask too many questions because I don't need to meddle too much. I've gotten a little wiser with age, which is don't care so much. Don't ask them. Don't pry, because people will tell me things and later they will hate me for them having discussed this with me. So I just sit there and listen. She thinks we're going to be transitioning. She thinks we're going to be changing into another species from the radiation. I don't know. I have no idea. I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden a lot of the old fauna came back, if the Earth was remade into the way it was previously. After all, this is only going to be about the 1 millionth Earth age. So there's got to be a lot of variety, a lot of variation. And we know that, there's about 4 or 5 of the Earth ages that result in sandstone or limestone flooding and layering. And about every 5th or 6th layer is black basalt, which we know is not just from the ash from the volcanoes, but from the lava as well. So I don't know if we get hit really badly and the whole place really gets in bad shape, but you need to remember, there are certain places where there are underground cities and towns, UNESCO sites and all kinds of stuff. And people wonder why. They did that because they had to, because they couldn't stay on the surface because of the plasma displays. The plasma displays aren't just for show. I mean, one of those things is Squatting Man. From what I can tell, Squatting Man walks on the face of the earth and then slams his ass down, destroying whatever's underneath himself. Squatting Man was a violent display, if you will. And then we also will see the menorah is a plasma display that will be up in the sky as well. Look, folks, you're going to be remembering stuff and learning stuff. We used to know it all. We used to know quite a bit more when we were united before the Tower of Babel. Babel was a real thing, and it wasn't just symbolic. It was realistic. We all had the same language. I wonder if we'll get that again. We were all divided up, and I think that we took a piece of the pie of knowledge, if you will, the traditions with us, so we can each learn from each other. There's even a tribe in Africa that will tell you, and you may think, how the hell do they know anything? They can't make a wheel, they can't make this, they haven't made that, they haven't accomplished much. They still live a really, not even quite agrarian life compared to us. It's a much more primitive life. But yet they know where they come from, and they tell us, they come from a planet that had a binary star system, 2 stars. But we might have 2 stars ourselves and not even know it. But they say they came from a place with 2 stars. I don't know. I say we listen to them. And I love the Aborigines' view of how the universe came into existence. The Creator sang it into existence. Now, if that's actually the truth. That's closer to a description than anything else, because it's all built on frequency and vibration. It's all built on music, if you will, sound, noise, all of that. That's what all this stuff is. And I've been trying to look up videos which say nothing is real. It's not there. It's all a show. It's all an act. Your mind is fooling you. Everything is set up to fool you. And this is just a learning experience. Well, I'm looking at those. And some of the wisest people are saying that. And then the smart guy, Langdon, I don't know. The guy lives in Missouri with a 200 IQ, so they say. The guy that's built like it, looks like a bouncer and worked as a bouncer much of his life. He's come up with his own theory, a unified theory of the universe. I got news for you. I'll bet Doug Vogt, VOGT, I bet his writings predate Langdon's. But here's what's incredible. The son of a bitches overlap. They're very similar to each other in their outlook. And they're looking at this as a great machine based upon information. And we're all connected. I mean, that's my saving grace. And I also know that y'all out there are feeling very violent. You want to strike out. How do I know that? Because I feel it too. Do not trust that. Do not trust what you're perceiving. Do not trust what you're thinking. They've got the psychotronic weapons. They've had them for decades, and they can target your ass individually and put in there the voice of God, or drive you out of your mind, or give you instructions to behave differently than what you ought to behave. They have had that for a long time. That's right. So when you think you're hearing something, they might be beaming that voice into your head. When you think that you understand yourself and you're thinking for yourself, especially if it's tempting you to violate the 10 Commandments, don't do it. Be very specific when it comes to the 10 Commandments. Don't do any of that stuff because you're not getting away with anything. I know. I remember the bullshit I pulled when I was younger. I don't like it because I think about it too damn often. I don't dwell on it much. It's been a long time since I did stupid bullshit stuff. But it's the thoughts of that keep me from raging upon others. I don't want to harm anybody. I already have been I've already been held to task once and got rejected. And I've already seen the Messiah once. And by the way, the toroidal field emanating from his body, from his heart, is keeping all of this together. That's what gets me. And what I also kind of am bothered by is, what about all this evil stuff? Is that there too? Does he hold that stuff there as well? Because I'm not approving of that. But then again, this whole thing is beyond my pay grade. So, we've passed 21 minutes, and I feel pretty good just sitting here. But I probably need to go bounce on the grass a little bit myself and get the lymphatic system moving. We're finding out that the cause of Alzheimer's and the cause of autism, the same metals involved, is primarily aluminum, but in different ways. In Alzheimer's, it's actually in the neuronal material, but in autism, it's in the material that supports that, the glial, the fat tissue around the neurons. It shows up in there. They've been doing that to us on purpose. So you can't think, not at your full strength. And they've been reducing us tremendously. And so we've all got plastics in our bodies. There's no sense in embalming yourself because basically you're going to last a hell of a lot longer than you want to. And we've got all those microplastics. They've done all kinds of stuff to us, and they've known it. They've done it purposely. They've hurt civilizations before. My God, they caused the rickets in one civilization in India quite a while back. These are people that do their best to keep the rest of us down, to oppress people so we don't have half a chance. And believe me, I don't want those unassimilable foreigners over here that will never have the capacity. They shouldn't be here. There's a lot to be said for breeding. So much, as a matter of fact, that the elite don't breed unless the Pope puts them together. The Pope approves of it. That's right. That's how come you got these weird marriages. Unnatural marriages. Even George Soros married a woman twice his age from a whole nother species. You call them races. I call them species. Yeah. We live in a really screwy, weird world. And a lot of people are saying, well, I'm rooting for Israel, but I want them to stop. Look, I want to see the scriptures fulfilled at this point. That's all I'm hanging around here for, is to see that fulfilled and to share this stuff with you. Now, to my new subscribers, I appreciate you being here. I'm known as Dr. John Taylor Kent. PhD, piled high and deep, or post-hole digger. A real doctorate, not an MD, not a medical doctor, not a drug pharmaceutical Rockefeller prostitute. Not one of those whores. I don't prescribe medicines. I've helped a lot of people get off those poisons. I don't like the medical system. I think they should all be put to death for their frauds and their mistakes, which they do on purpose because they know what these things are caused by today and they know how to treat it, but they only give that stuff to the elite. They don't give it to us. They shorten our lives. And that's why they're the highest paid of all the professions. So they're controlled and they keep their mouths shut and they just do a good job killing us off. And you got your second most wicked profession, the attorneys that keep us in chains. Man, when you find out about them, you're going to kill them all. They are bar bastards. They're not even residents here. They're not even, well, they might reside here, but they certainly aren't citizens. They've been stripped of that, but most of you are ignorant of that. And then there's the third worst profession. That's psychology. That's my profession. And as my friend, another psychologist who's still working today, says, John, all psychologists should be put to death for what we've done to this country. And of course, I start looking up at him a little sideways, to defend us, because we're both psychologists. And he says, before I could ask the question, he says, that's right, that includes you and me. And of course, his sisters, they're witnessing this, and I'm like, I'm kind of speechless. And it's true. Psychology forced this shit upon the American public. And most psychologists are not very good. I see a lot of master's level counselors that do better work than we psychologists do, because we're too busy feeding the machine. We're too busy keeping people down. We cast them in the cement overshoes of a lifelong diagnosis, which they haven't and which they never will have, but we make sure they think they have it and they comply with their medications, which aren't their medications at all. They're just poisons and toxins and work on principles of disabling, and they have hurt a lot of people. And that's all they care about is power. That's why they get paid so much money. And those drugs are so expensive because there's a big kickback to the pharmacist, to the psychiatrist and the medical doctors. They get a kickback on every script. That system needs to be put to death. They aren't good doctors. They're closer to a witch doctor. A witch doctor might actually be more effective and more honest and noble than these bastards. These fucking quacks that call themselves medical doctors. And I know my friends say, oh, their children, he's not a real doctor. Yeah, and you've got a degree and you're working at a higher position in a company that pays you $250,000 or so a year. But you don't know the truth, and you're disrespectful towards me, towards my profession. Fine. And I'm one of the few people that are going to be able to tell you the truth. I'm one of the few people that will bring you the proper name version of the King James Bible. I'm one of the few people that will tell you the Bible's been through several revisions over the years, and there are problems. I'm one of the few people with the insight that the seminaries and the Bible translators, generally speaking, by 1850, were all taken over by the evil ones. That's why you have lying pastors. That's why you have an alternative Christ marketed to you and sold at the big box churches, telling you just have to say the magic words and that's it. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Once you say that magic potion, you're saved. That's all there is to it. Nobody can take that from you. Look, I'm going to tell you this. Once you step forward, it's just getting started, baby. The battle's just getting beginning. And it may take decades before you finally are really able to see what the hell's happened to you and what you've been through. That's one thing I got over you. I started looking at all this shit, looking at the adults, trying to make sense out of the world before I was 5. And these people were fucking nuts. They didn't make any sense. And I asked the questions they didn't want to answer. I asked the questions they didn't want to face. Yeah, the Holy Spirit was real active in me as a child. We get educated out of it and away from it. And that's your job, is to build that Holy Spirit, because Father Yahweh wants a relationship with you. And it is the way, it is a singular way, not because we all say the same thing and believe the same thing. It's because we all build that relationship. We cultivate the Holy Spirit by reading the Bible and practicing all of those lessons from there. and getting the full benefits in the here and now, and salvation is today. We get all that. And we don't even recognize that. And we have everybody saying, oh, it's got to get worse before it gets better. Really? Do you realize we're all linked together, creating this together at the same time? Yeah. I'm not too worried about dying. I did it once and I had to come back. I was not happy about that. That was such a long damn time ago. I'm like looking at it going, okay. I do not like my current status very much. Family is gone. The people that are left have no respect. That's fine. That's their choice. So that's part of why you hear so much from me, and part of why I make these videos. I don't like being alone. I don't want you suffering like I do or like I have. I want you to be able to actually sidestep that and have a better life, because I think those youngsters who decide to rebel against this permissive culture that we have here, they're going to be blessed beyond measure. Those that come up afterwards and keep themselves, stick to their chastity until marriage, I especially admire the young man, especially that young man that worked at McDonald's somewhere when the porn star Bonnie Blue, or whatever the hell her name is, showed up there trying to seduce this 19-year-old boy, this 20-year-old boy. And then this young man, very tall, very slender, because, he doesn't put on any weight yet, he told her straight up he was saving himself for marriage. And I sat there thinking, good for you. Because he didn't even know who the hell he was dealing with or talking with. Talking with a daughter of Satan, basically. We're paying a big price for all this stuff, and we were told, oh no, you'll be free, you'll be this or that. No, you're not free. You're supposed to be given the Holy Spirit so you can live real freedom under his yoke. And it is the way, because he's going to tell you how to do it. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. Nobody else can tell you how to do it. Capiche? Nobody but the Holy Spirit should have any of that kind of sway over you. Not even Dr. Kent. So we're growing here as a channel. Give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Watch some of the old videos. I think they're timeless. I have a lot more videos that have been taken down already by Fascist Book. Well, by Fascist Book YouTube. It's all the same to me. It's the same beast system. Welcome to the Beast of Babylon, which you and I get to watch. And we're watching the greatest show on earth, the shit show put on by those phony politicians that are all elected by Israel and all control America. That's right. Israel controls America. They own us, and they know it, and they brag about it. Even Bibi Netanyahu will tell you that. May Yahweh bless you.